Hello, and welcome to the BIPOC hArt Music Series Application Information Session. My name is David Hudson. I'm the Program and Community Engagement Coordinator for Hamilton Arts Council. On today's call, I'm also joined by Hamilton Arts Council's Program Administrator, Megan DeVicha. We're also very pleased to be joined by the BIPOC hArt Music Series curator and host, Deshawn Jones. So Hamilton Arts Council serves arts communities within the Greater Hamilton area, including Ancaster, Dundas, Flamborough, Glanbrook, Hamilton, Stony Creek, Waterdown, and 6 nations of the Grand River. This area is situated upon the traditional territories of the Erie, Neutral, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Mississaugas. The land is covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, which is an agreement between the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabeg to share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Hamilton Arts Council envision a dynamic arts community that is innovative, impactful, diverse, and professionally sustainable. The application deadline for this series is August 7th. Sunday, August 7th, the applications will close. So the BIPOC hArt series is really about celebrating diverse representation in the performing arts and creative industries, and we do that by showcasing emerging artists who are existing, working, and living across the Greater Hamilton area and 6 nations of the Grand River. So the program priorities are about creating access to professional artistic opportunities. We realize that those are few and far between, and also to deliver professional assets to the participating artists. So in this series, the professionally filmed video is classed as a professional asset, and we hope that that becomes part of your EPK, your future activities in terms of reaching out and seeking new opportunities for professional development. We support artistic practice and producers with their fees, and I'll be talking a little bit about the fees, but also everyone who's participating in the program. So our curator, our adjudicators, the technical staff and venue are all being paid industry standard rates for the work that they're doing. Other priorities are to inspire artists to create and share their work with new audiences, and we want to create access for artists to connect with each other as well as the broader network of creative industries. So our hope is that those who are engaging with this program create new relationships with people like Deshawn, like the technical team at Bridgeworks, and in that enhancing their professional experience. We want to highlight the importance of diverse voices and cultures to a healthy and creative community and create a safe space for the experience of BIPOC artists and musicians to be expressed. This year's presentation is going to take place at Bridgeworks Event Space. If it's not somewhere you're familiar with, it's somewhere I became familiar with earlier this year. Really great team working in the event space located in Caroline Street North in downtown Hamilton. The key dates are, of course, July 27th for this online information session, August 7th, which is the deadline for applications, and then October the 14th is actually the rehearsal and performance day. So the selected artists will need to be available. I recommend making yourself available the entire day. And also, if you have accompanying musicians, it's important that they're also prepared to be available that day. And successful applicants receive the following. So there's performance compensation in accordance with professional standards. So this works out as $750 for the lead applicant, and then an additional $250 for each additional accompanying artist or musician. And that's to a total maximum of $2,000. You also receive a professionally filmed and produced video of your work, the unique opportunity to reach new audiences, and an opportunity to meet and work with other music professionals. Applicants must self-identify as BIPOC, be considered an emerging artist, and we have a definition below there at the bottom. To be prepared to deliver a 25 to 35-minute presentation of original work for recording. We also require applicants to be Canadian citizens or permanent residents currently residing or practicing in the Greater Hamilton area. So even if your residential address isn't classed as the Greater Hamilton area, the fact that perhaps you're participating and working in the Greater Hamilton area, as well as 6 nations of the Grand River, would qualify you for the program. And we have the definition for emerging artists here, which is also available on the website. So as you may have picked up on, the Arty Crowd website, which is a Hamilton Arts Council initiative, is acting as the portal for applications. And so all eligible applicants will be required to create a visible public profile on the Arty Crowd. And this actually serves two purposes in adjudicating and selecting the artists. And so I'm going to cover those pieces right now. But as you go to the Arty Crowd website, see the URL here, the artycrowd.ca. You'll want to join the Arty Crowd. Make sure that you select the I am an artist/creative option. You'll then fulfill your account information, you'll receive an email, and then when you open the site, this will be your account page and you would select your artist profile. So having an account is the first step, and then creating your artist profile, which is a public facing page of information about you, is really important. So when we create the Arty Crowd public profile, there's going to be a section in that called the biography. The biography is actually being reviewed in adjudication, so by the panel of adjudicators and the curator, to really understand about you and your artistic vision. Part of the scoring for adjudication, which is available on the website. Here I've just taken the quote from the highest score, which is a score of 5. The description for a score of 5 says that the goals or vision appear appropriate and unique. The artist describes their work thoughtfully and displays a high level of self-awareness. So when we're writing our biographies, what we're looking for you to tell us about is, who are you? What inspires you to create and perform? What is the impact you hope to achieve with your music? How does your cultural background or lived experience inform your music? And then we have, how is your approach to music original, or how is your music representative of your cultural influences? So in this section, this is where you can really, from the beginning, give adjudicators and Deshawn a sense of who you are. Why is this important? And yeah, I'm actually going to turn over to Deshawn now to talk a little bit about the artist statement and the vision statement.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Yeah, it's very important to get across what we want to call your narrative. In order for myself and the adjudicators to be able to really fully understand where you are at the stage that in your career, in your artist development growth, as well as understand your overall vision to see if you have some type of good understanding of where you want to go with your music. Like what is your plan or your aspirations once you've finished, or once you have your content for your EPK or your video? Do you know what you want to do with it? But the main thing is really to see, what are your influences? Who has touched you in throughout? Why do you want to do music? What draws you to it? And this is all part of your narrative, which is very, very important, because it's the basis of everything, and your music is just a byproduct of that narrative. So getting an opportunity to really outline your bio, if you're not a strong writer, and I know it's hard sometimes to kind of write in third person or write about yourself, but maybe get some friends who are somebody that who's just either a marketing student or sales student, or somebody in school, or somebody who's better at creative writing or poetry, or even a songwriter friend, somebody that could help you with that story and outline. So then we can understand. We don't expect, pages and pages. We just want some type of clear understanding, that you have an understanding of where you want to go and what you want to do and what type of message you want to bring out as an artist.
So the second important part of your Arty Crowd profile will be the examples of work. It's labeled under your work on the Arty Crowd profile. And here you'll be adding YouTube or Vimeo links. We're also looking for the very best representation of your work. So thinking about the context of your application, what have you told us about yourself in your biography, and how does that line up with the examples of work that you're sharing with us? Some of you, I'm sure, have a huge amount of representations of your work. And so choosing what really cuts through the noise, what's really going to speak to adjudicators and line up with your artistic vision, and what does that look like? I want to emphasize that in the representation of work, we're not expecting the most incredible quality finished and produced videos. Part of the reason for participating in the program is because you're going to end up with one of those at the end of it. So think about more, how do these representations of my work reflect on me and my artistic vision? I want to emphasize to ensure testing that the settings on your video are public. And one of the ways that you can do this, that I often do when I'm filling in applications for various programs, is I actually use incognito mode. If you're familiar with that on whatever browser you're using, and to edit where necessary. I would definitely advocate for not sharing an example of work with us that's from a 2-hour concert where you feature at the 1 hour and 15-minute point. I don't imagine the adjudicators or Deshawn really want to be scrolling through to look for those pieces. And there is some free editing software available. So the examples of work are scored by the adjudicators. And here again, we have the top scoring sort of descriptor is: artists' examples of work demonstrate exceptional skill, creativity, and/or innovation. And again, thinking about how the examples of work relate back to your vision statement.
Yes, definitely. Within your budgetary means, you want to have the best representation of giving us an idea of where you're going. Again, what David says, it doesn't have to be finished quality. If you have a single already out, great. And as an emerging artist, you should be at a point where you are, looking at getting college radio play minimal. So you have to have your music up to a certain marketability and being able to get release ready. Again, being an emerging artist, it's because you would have experienced, sending your song out to PR or for media relations or for radio promotions. So, but at the same time, you want to give the best representation idea of what you're looking to present to us and where you're going creatively as an artist.
Great. So completing the application form, just an important note, the application form does not save your progress. So I absolutely recommend preparing the responses and saving them in an alternative document, a Word document, a Google document, something like that, and then copying and pasting them over. Please consider that as an option when doing any of the work in the application. The application form itself is going to ask for the URL, the link to your Arty Crowd profile so that we can access that. So the diagram that I've just thrown up here, we actually have Life in the Tribe, who was one of the featured artists in 2021. This is their Arty Crowd profile. You can see URL just here, and that's what you're going to copy and paste that there in the application form. So we're in the application form. There are a couple of sections that you'll be filling in. This one is particularly important for the series curator, for Deshawn. This isn't a scored question. This question, though, is going to tell Deshawn everything he needs to know about what you'd be planning to present. So when it comes to making final assessment of the applications, and he's looking to put together a varied and exciting program, this question is really going to weigh heavily in guiding that. So to describe the type of performance you would deliver in a 30-minute set, and here I have some points. I'll go over to Deshawn shortly. So thinking about the genre of performance or music, will your performance include reference to cultural influences or protocols? How do you want the audience to feel during your performance? What kind of visual representation would accompany your performance, if any? And how might the performance dynamic or mood change through a 30-minute set list? So if you come out swinging from minute 1, is it going to be a full-on blast session for 30 minutes? I'm going to turn over to Deshawn here, who can speak a little bit to this.
Yes, definitely. The this component really helps a lot, because the way I look at it is, as well as the adjudicators, we look at it as assessing that if we put the hats on as a booking agent for whether it's a talent buyer for a festival or a live music venue or corporate functions, and you want to say you want to get booked at a certain amount of money, you have to show the value that you're bringing to the table, and to say that it warrants what you're asking for. So just in the case of what we're doing for the program, being that the maximum that is potentially there based on the size of the group is, say, $2,000 or even $1,000, you would still need to you want to showcase what $1,000 performance would look like. If you're asking for $1,500 a show for an hour performance, even though this is 30 minutes, so it's a little better, but this is a different program. But normally, typically in the real world of music, you're getting booked for, whether 2 45-minute sets or a 60-minute set or a 90-minute set. So you want to make sure that what you present and what you say you're going to present is based on what you're going to be getting from this opportunity, and really maximize that effort, because it is going to be documented in a high quality video presentation. So that's really what we're looking for, is really show us really how you're going to wow us. Because as a person who is also a talent buyer and have consulting other festivals on artists to book, they want dynamics. They want that audience interaction. How are you going to engage your audience from the eyes? How are you going to grab their attention, and really showcase your music, your art, your culture? And that's some key factors.
Great. Thank you so much, Deshaun. The program really is about career development. What we're looking for is, where does this sit in your career arc? And can you show us that you're thinking about the next stage beyond this presentation? So talking about how frequently are you currently engaging in professional paid performance opportunities, and be honest about that. What challenges do you currently experience? And so the different challenges that people experience, there's a whole range there, and demonstrating that you're aware of what those challenges are, I think is a major component. Who would you invite to see yourself perform in this professional venue? So it's great if your mom is going to come, but my mom wouldn't come and see me perform. But thinking about, if you have this opportunity on October 14th for your work to be presented in this great setting, audience, host, who from your professional networks, thinking about someone who might be booking you next, at least could get the invite to them. How would you use the professionally recorded video of your performance? So is it going onto a website? Is it forming part of a social media strategy? Is it forming part of your EPK, your electronic press kit? What skill or asset would you hope to develop as part of participating in the program, in the opportunity? And what would you hope to be doing with music after this opportunity? I know Deshaun's really excited about this question and learning about this, and so I will turn it over. I'm just going to note on the right again, we've got the highest scoring description. The artist potential progression is clearly impacted by the program, so we can see that this can help, and it correlates to the artist's goals or vision. So the stuff you say in the beginning in your profile about who you want to be and where you want to go, the goals that you're identifying and the progress that you're identifying in here is aligned with that. Over to you, Deshaun.
Definitely. This section is just as important as the presentation, but even more, I think, just a little bit more, based on the fact that it actually indicates to the council, as well as the adjudicators and myself, that you've put thought into what you're going to do with this tool. Does this program work within your goals and journey in your artistic development? It shows us that you're not just thinking as an artist, but you're thinking as an entrepreneur. And it is, because once you come out of your basement or your bedroom or wherever, your garage or whatever you're doing for you playing your music, and you want to venture out and you want to ask for a 99-cent download, you want to ask for a booking, you want to ask for somebody to buy your merch, you're entering into the business aspect. So this answering these questions will help us give us a good understanding of it. Does even if it's a small amount of knowledge or experience, because I know it's one of those avenues that some artists are very shaky to touch base in. But you got to wear two hats. You always have to be an artist as well as be an entrepreneur until you get the right people around you in your team. As you're emerging, you will get those people that will see your work. They'll see what you do without their help. But the key is letting us know that you have some type of understanding and game plan, and you're keeping it reasonable. Like you're keeping it you have a full understanding of where you are and your value in the marketplace. We don't want a pie in the sky idea. I'll burst that bubble. We don't need that. We want focus. We want to see that, yeah, you have a good, proper understanding of where you are, where you're going to go with this tool, and then you'll understand the true value of the program.
So if you're looking for any support with getting set up on the Arty Crowd website, completing the application form, I want you to email me. And my email is right there, community@hamiltonartscouncil.ca. If you have any questions about the artistic content or the performance content or anything like that, I'll send those directly to Deshawn and make that connection happen. So if there are aspects of your performance that you want to talk about with the series curator, that's absolutely an option that's available to you. Please, please, please try to do it before August the 7th. Just a reminder. What I want to share here as well is we're also accepting video recorded applications. So if there are applicants who are not confident writers, who don't possess that skill, and I realize that the application process is set up in the English language, then what we can certainly do is set up recorded video responses, and I can do that one-on-one with an applicant and record that and share those responses with an adjudicator, or they can or sessions can be recorded sort of on their own basis, and then those links shared with us. So there are definitely workarounds for accessibility and making sure that people really have an opportunity to participate if they're so willing. And also at the bottom there, if perhaps email isn't your preferred way of communicating and you're desperately looking for help, then our social media channels, you can drop us a message via social media, and I'm sure find its way to me or Megan, who is also on the call, and we will help you out as very best we can.
So anybody out there that's watching this, don't be afraid to ask those questions, because we want to make sure we arm you guys with the best opportunity and tools so you can put your best foot forward. We want to make sure you have a full understanding of the question so you can, decipher it and put it down and give us the answers that we're looking for. So when we're reading that and while listening to your music, we get a full understanding of where you are and where you want to go, and to see and then see how it lines up in regards to the grading.
For the YouTube, when you said that there's editing software, what software would you recommend?
You can go iMovie. Usually, there's some online free software. iMovie, I know that if you have a Mac, I don't know if it comes with it. It's just taking a piece of that YouTube link and then shrinking it down to say, give us the intro, give us your first verse, give us your chorus, and then done. I mean, from there, we'd be able to get a good understanding of your visual presentation of what you're trying to do, or the type of band, the size of the band, even how your stage is set up. So it gives us a good idea when we can see that video. But if best of my knowledge, I know iMovie, but I'm sure there's some free software on Android wise, Google wise. If you type in free movie or video editing software capabilities, you should be able to find something on there.
You're looking for kind of a career-focused, self-aware response. That's a scary word to me, self-awareness. What is an example of like a self-aware, really business-minded, career-focused response? Or if there's an example in the past of somebody who like stood out to you that answered that question really well.
Understanding yourself is just being honest, saying, hey, I just started. I've only done charity work, or I've been at this festival, or I've been at this showcase. Just let us know. Like it's again, if you're eligible under where it says emerging, you'll see the description. So as an emerging artist, you should have been receiving some form of college radio play or podcast release, or, not Spotify likes or anything of that nature. We're not talking about that. We're talking about having an artist having an understanding of, or at least making an effort to present their art, their music themselves to the local college radio station that also has college newspaper, or they've been involved in an event that they got some exposure. It's something of nature that they're making themselves active in the industry as well as the marketplace. That shows us that you have the understanding of what it takes to go out there, and you need more guidance or direction for proper steps, but you have the understanding to make those steps. So it's just being 100% real. Me hearing, and I'm sure my adjudicator is hearing, you have 10,000 streams. Cool, congratulations, but we need to see more of what's going on, what you've done locally, what you're doing here, and just being real with it. And again, if you fall under the eligibility, you should be checking off a lot of those boxes. So don't be afraid of being real. Say, hey, this is what I've done, this is where I'm being, this is what I'm doing, this is where I want to go. I recognize I need to do X, Y, and Z, but I'm starting at ABC. So once we know you understand what to do in the middle to get to that destination, that helps you a lot.
There's an element in that response as well that's kind of standardized across arts applications, and that's about understanding your impact or your potential impact. So really, when we talk about self-awareness as an artist, we're talking about not just the artist presenting work for themselves, but thinking about how that's being received, how it's being interpreted, how audiences might be responding to or appreciating the work.
Definitely.
Go ahead, Ganeta.
So basically, would it be fair to say then that when you are writing up your biography or your career self-awareness, can you, like, I'm not saying exaggerate, but you actually do want to kind of exaggerate a tad bit of how you really make the crowd feel, and the responses that you've been getting and stuff like that? Like, basically you want to put everything that you've done and everything that's still waiting to be done, that's already booked. Like, I mean, like for instance, if you're already in there in the festivals and stuff of that nature, and then even after you put you fill out the application, but you still have more important, big important shows, put those in it as well.
Yeah, you want there's a section of the bio package that is called a performance history, separate from your bio, because you don't want to, because again, you can have 100 great shows, but you don't want to put every single thing in your bio because it'll clog it up. You want your bio to be your narrative, your story. Okay. Key high points of maybe you opened up for somebody and you have to put it in your bio because that was a turning point in your career. Right. But in regards to something separate, you want to have a separate sheet that would highlight your performance history. So if you have key things, you open up for Stevie Wonder, or you did something this, you did that, you headlined at this festival, that festival, you opened up at wherever, Festival of Friends. You want to indicate that in a chronological, if you can, city and more year or date, if you can get it, if you can remember. But just let us know like a snapshot of what you've done. So then if you talk about it, you can briefly hit key points in your answer, so you don't have to clog up your words, and just really cut the fat and go right to the information we need. But you can still give us a snapshot, which you can upload to your content section or be part of your bio section.
So you don't really want to be repetitive either. Pretty much in some of the answers somewhat are like spin off of one question. It's like sometimes you find yourself saying the same answers to some of different questions, but it's almost like the questions are reworded differently, maybe. And then you're still coming up with the same answers.
Absolutely. What I guess through the 3 series, what we're coming to is trying to avoid kind of the very generic responses. If I create music because I love it, I want people to feel good. Right. And so what we're doing through the questioning is we're trying to extract the information about the individuality. I think as well, to your other point, if you have other bookings in place that follow October, for example, I think it's great if there's something worth kind of putting on there. I'm also going to be here in November or here in December. Again, you're showing that trajectory.
Right.
Yeah. Toot your horn. It's good. You want to highlight. It's almost like a synopsis or cover letter before you go into your bio.
So cover letter. Okay. Yeah.
There's sections on there for questions. You can throw those tidbits into some of those other questions, so we get an understanding that you got things happening. You're not just sitting down waiting for something to happen, and you're out there being very active to help build your value in the marketplace. And that what our program is doing is trying to help with the knowledge of to do with it, as well as a tool to do with it. And that's going to build your knowledge in the marketplace by having something very professional, as well as the experience of getting out there and giving something to one of the gatekeepers, if you want to call it, as a talent buyer or a festival booking agent.
Okay.
It's better to give more. And again, if you have to give us another paper, give us more. Let us know. You want to hit your key points. These are key selling points. This is part of a marketing plan. When you do put together something as a hot sheet for an artist or a tip sheet, you always got to have your key selling points. What is going to draw your attention? What separates you from the crowd or anyone else doing your genre? You know, and so you got to be able to have a section in there that highlights that. And even as just bullet points, we're anybody who's adjudicating this, we're in the industry. So we don't need the full story all the time in lengthy. Sometimes we just need the key points because we can disseminate it really quick. It's like, yep, okay, this is what they're doing. Okay, good, cool. And we move on, you know?
Good.
I'm just excited to be able to get that submissions. I want to see how we progress in this year. And I'm really excited to see what comes down the pipeline and to be able to showcase and connect artists to these audiences and even myself to learn about new artists that are coming out of the city and the surrounding areas. So I'm honored to be a part of it again and looking forward to it. It's gonna be a great year.
Great stuff.